right, so we're back with the We Got Issues Hoodlum podcast. And listen, you guys like, subscribe, and
hit the like button
and follow us. Don't make it fun. Like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that button on the right there that says you liked it, like the podcast. You know, make us happy. You know what I'm saying? Catch you right back.
Run that sh**.
Run that
Run that sh**.
A dear friend of ours joining the We Got Issue show, Hoodlum show today. We have Adrian A. Love Miller on the show today with us.
Thanks. We're gonna talk about Ev's 1990 R&B glasses, shades.
My fucking Kazals, motherfucker.
I was about to get
I don't know if you guys got Kazals. I don't know if you even know about Kazals, baby.
Where do you get those
lost
from?
member manager of Color
Kazals,
Me
you know
Back.
What is that?
They're not even Crumb Hearts.
These are not Chrome Hearts, man. These are what the
Don't even
guys call
start.
Persals, baby.
Yeah, no.
These are Persals.
Yeah, no.
Those are wrong.
I'm gonna have to get you into the
Perrongs?
sauce.
Yeah,
The
for wrong.
Perrongs?
They're wrong, man.
They're
Where's Alicia already? You got an assistant? Where's Alicia? Alicia, can I have my glass over there because he's punking me out, these motherfuckers.
Please
I'm gonna put on
switch
the
him out.
Pradas. All right, here we
Switch
go.
him out.
Those 90s glasses are back in style.
You know, yes.
Right
That's
now.
my girl sticking up for
But
her
not
boy.
when you lived in the 90s. It's retro when you get lived in. You're like, oh, it's cool. When we lived there, now you just look like more old
You
self.
see what happens? Dropping us a white guy thing.
There
right
you
now.
go.
Don't
No,
need
fucking
shades.
punking the white boy out.
But
They were
I
gonna
like
be shades.
You got beautiful eyes. I don't want you to start hitting on me. Let's talk about JC.
Those
We
personal
got issues.
attacks.
We got issues. So we are very, very fortunate to have my friend Adrian Miller, A. Love. We've been friends now for almost 30 years, maybe even longer than 30 years. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You got Queen Vic, you got JC, dear friends. We're just having a nice conversation with our close friend, and I know a lot about Adrian, obviously, because he was when he was in college, he was a DJ. Out in Oklahoma City, right?
No, Tulsa.
Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Wall
and
Street.
he was breaking records out there. Instrumental in a lot of the successes that I had with a lot of the hip hop that was breaking out through the Midwest. Just a fantastic guy. I remember when he came out to California. I think your cousin's Lamar Algie, right?
Facts.
Dear friend of ours as well, Lamar. Shout out to my friend Lamar Algie, and he's had a very interesting career, which we're going to get into because, like all of us, we started in the street teams,
I
street
didn't
marketing.
start in the streets.
You didn't start-
Just to be
What?
very clear.
Oh, streets of Indiana?
You can't say that. You can't say the streets anymore because then you're for the streets. The kids say it in a different way.
What do they
Yeah, how do you say it? How do we
It's
say
just,
it?
you just said it right. You said it right. We started in the street teams,
Right.
not from the streets. She's of the streets.
I'm not from the streets. I'm of the streets. With that in stone.
Queen Vic's fucking Cinderella.
Right,
She
exactly.
was Cinderella. She's on Broadway doing Cinderella.
My streets just look a little different than
Yeah,
yours.
a lot.
Pageants at
Cobblestone.
7 years old and on Vegas at 8.
Their streets are paved and nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you live? Disneyland?
Yeah, no,
Practically.
it was Rogers
Cobblestone.
Hammerstein, so that was cobblestone. Well, he was talking about Cinderella.
Yeah. Okay, got it. That's
But A-Love, take us back a little bit to hip hop as you know it back in the early 90s.
Oh, man.
Working at college radio and doing your shit.
So for me, honestly, it starts long before the 90s. Right around, well, no. I'm saying that the love of the culture, he's going to keep doing that. Don't trip. That's part of what he's doing. He's like, I'm doing my job, you do your job.
Yeah.
Everybody works. We're talking off the scene. There's a guy outside drilling and
Maybe
having
we can
his
have-
way.
Alicia, maybe,
But he's wearing Jordans, and you can't be mad.
Please tell him.
Yeah, let him know we're
pipe
taping.
down a little bit.
Alicia,
Yeah.
thank you.
A-Love has a new partner in crime that he bought today, in from New York. That's his assistant now. So.
Yeah.
We have several of those people working ourselves. You know, we give her props because she's here today.
That's right.
But yeah, I started really being enchanted with the culture as a dancer.
Syllable words and chant.
I like
Dancer.
that. I like
what I
that you
mean.
use that
So-
word.
I didn't know that.
Focus.
You asked.
Dancer?
Yeah.
He was enchanted. Go ahead.
With the culture. And, you know, it happened, and nobody really knows this about me, but it happened at Jesse Owens Park, which was Sportsman's Park in Los Angeles. I was at a talent show. And my dad took me to the talent show. I was probably 8 years old, and I saw guys popping on stage.
Oh, really?
Like
They were
popping,
popping,
like-
yeah, like
Stop
they,
blocking.
they were popping and locking for what it was worth. And one of the guys couldn't hear.
Yeah.
One of the performers couldn't hear. He was deaf,
Oh wow.
and they had the speaker on the
So you
stage.
can feel the
So you feel the-
vibration.
So you feel- and I didn't know what I was like.
Yeah.
My dad was a AV guy. He was all about systems. I was like, why do you got the speaker facing on the floor, Dad? And he was just like, oh, that guy can't hear.
Wow.
And I said,
Wow.
oh, so he's dancing to the music under, and he didn't have his shoes on,
Oh wow.
That's super dope.
and he was going off the vibration. And while I was watching that, I was listening to the song that they danced to. I'll never forget it. It was called "Shake Your Pants" by Cameo, and they had one of the tightest routines that I had ever seen, even from that point forward. And I was like, I can do that. And my dad was like, shut up, you can't dance. And I was like, no, I think I can actually do that. And that was one of those times.
Pop and Pete era, right? Like
No,
around then, or
there was no
before
Pop and
that?
Pete.
LAC
There was
Breakers,
no Pop and
Rockers,
Pete.
LA Rockers. And
No. This was before Radiotron.
This is like
I'm talking
I
1970.
had one
Shopping,
keyword
right?
and I just threw it out. I don't even really know what I'm
1976.
talking about.
76.
77.
77.
Wow.
76,
Sugar Hill
77.
Gang. Sugar Hill Gang.
I'm telling you, it wasn't any real rap records
Right,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
We had
Yeah.
Cameo, "Shake Your Pants" wasn't the rap record.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
So for
That
me,
moved you.
yeah, no, I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I just knew I could do it. And everybody was like, yeah, right. And I was just telling my dad, I was like, I think I can dance like that guy. And I went home and I practiced the wave and I practiced like the pop. And he was like, you doing it. You're doing it.
You're like, Dad, I told you,
It's so funny
Dad.
when you just have a knowing that you just can't even explain. You just watch it and you're like, yep, that's for me. I can do this.
Most
Yeah.
everything for me, if I see it once, I can repeat it. Like I tell people all the time, my girlfriend was like, you don't know how to cook. And I was like, if I could taste it, I can make it. And that's the fact.
I like
That's
that.
a fact.
That's a great quote.
If I can taste it,
I can make it.
I can. It's the craziest thing.
That's
Chicken cacciatore,
You-
pot stickers, sushi, whatever I taste, I can actually
you see
figure out the
outcome
ingredients.
That's impressive.
first, and then
That's
you
what
fill
no,
in
it's
the
weird.
blanks.
No, it's not weird. It's a real good palate.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I kind of not to love. It's like when you have a good palate, you can. Oh, it has this and that, it has that and that. Then when you make it, like no, it's not quite. Yeah, so that's impressive. You're probably chef.
That
You're very,
I don't.
you're very impressive.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's
You're
cool.
impressive. So you're at, but the first time we encountered each other, you were working at the radio station, and I think I was working either Trage's record or it might have been even
No.
Rapping is Fundamental record or Dred Scott record,
No, it definitely wasn't Dred Scott.
Straight G record.
No. Go back to the first record you worked at A&M.
CeCe Peniston, John Jackson, Black
It
Cat.
was definitely an R&B record because
Was it back-
we didn't play hip hop music on the radio station.
Was it Barry White?
No, it wasn't Barry White.
Was
Because
it,
I would have bugged the shit out
Was
of
it,
you.
was it mid condition or low key?
It could have been mid condition. It could have been low key.
Because the first record I worked was Trage, and he just happened to be #1 record over there. I don't know if anybody saw it.
You know why
I
I'm
don't know if
saying
anybody ever saw the #1 record on the wall over there.
Yeah,
Trage,
I can't take
record
that
worked
away.
on. Doesn't have the #1 record right there.
We heard it 4 times, brother.
Okay,
We heard it
so
4
make
times.
sure you guys understand what's going down
Who
here.
was it?
Tragedy Gaddafi, you know what I'm saying? Tells them, you know.
#1
#1 record. #1
college radio.
Rap record. #1 rap. Just rap record.
So I want to make 2 points here, JC.
2 points. Okay, talk to me.
The reason Intelligent Hoodlum was not as successful as he could have been,
Yes, break it down.
in my opinion,
Yes, sir.
is because, like I tell Jekyll from Manish,
Okay.
you can't change your name 65 times.
Yeah.
I told him Gaddafi,
Right. Yeah.
Pick a name.
Trage,
You can't.
Intelligent Hoodlum.
Oh, you're supposed to have a name for your homeboys.
Right.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have your industry thing,
Yeah.
Right.
and you're supposed to have the name that the public knows you have.
Absolutely.
You do it that more than once, you're over.
Yeah.
Name one person that's done it more than once.
Puff Daddy.
Don't count. He's not a rapper. Name one record from MC that's
Oh,
done
I
it.
know one person.
Go.
Prince.
No. MC.
MC.
Give me a rapper.
This is the biggest problem that you're 100%, 150% correct.
I know he was because he had everything else, and we
Yeah,
were wondering.
everything else.
He had the guy on his back who
Yeah.
pushed him.
Yeah.
You get this, Bob. I would have killed to have Evan as my promotions guy,
No doubt.
my A&R guy, my executive producer. As an MC?
Oh yeah.
He told me no, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I would have loved to have had
Like
that.
you asked and he told you no.
He ain't gonna say yes to that. But I told you I'm gonna keep it real in this
I want to
meeting.
hear
But
his
he's not saying no either. He's not
Which
saying no
part?
either.
Which part? Which
When
part?
I was rapping,
When it was rapping, you wasn't rapping.
you didn't take me seriously.
I didn't. You know what?
I stutter a little bit.
No, getting back to that. I'm trying to remember the record that
He
you
just
released.
dodged the
Don't
shit out
remember.
of that question.
I'm trying to remember the record you released
Dodged it.
Yeah.
because Alicia's here.
Matter of fact, can we pull that up? Is that,
You can if you can.
you can?
There was that no.
Really?
Yeah, DKLA, you never heard of Nutsack? Come on.
He had a Nutsack record.
I have to hear it.
Wait,
He had a Nutsack record.
Nutsack.
I remember the record.
Listen, if you have a turntable, I may bless you guys with. We had the B side. Remember when they had B side?
Oh, yeah, B-side.
Of course.
We had the B side to put them on the glass.
Really?
Thanks to my manager.
That's right.
Not Evan.
So let me ask you this question. Looking back at that,
Shit.
if you were Evan, would you work with you?
Yes.
Okay.
You know why?
Works
Because
hard as a motherfucker.
I would have had.
Work ethic is amazing.
I would have made, like, if I were Evan, I would have made Adrian pay attention to detail and just follow the dream. Like,
Gotcha.
you can't jump over here. Like the rappers,
the
you
A-hat.
Be specific.
Yeah.
I want to hear.
can't do more than one thing, love.
That's
Stay
what-
focused.
Focus.
And that's what I was.
You needed somebody to guide you down the right way when you're trying to make it.
And to take nothing away from the manager that I had or the A&R guy that I had,
Yeah.
he was all lumped into one. He was a one-stop shop. So it would have worked out.
It was.
That's why I was bothering him about it. Like, we were in New York, I was like, yo, you should manage me. He was just like, I'm good.
But I got to tell you, it had nothing to do with my love and affection for him because we're 30 years strong. I love this guy. I know I've not only followed his career, but I'm a champion of his career. I'm a champion of him as a human.
Thank you.
But the reality is that if you know Traj and if you know the amount of work that I had at that time, tragedy was very, very difficult because he was a political prophet, a poet, an anarchist, and I'm dealing with CIA agents and FBI agents and the label and C. Dolores Tucker and all these fucking things going on. And I'm a white Jewish kid
I
going,
feel
what
like
the
just
fuck?
because
You
her
were-
name is
you-
Dolores, like
you
I
were-
knew she was a complainer.
You were
right?
fighting uphill.
I was fighting.
Was that
uphill.
before Tupac?
Yeah, it was before Tupac.
It was
It was very, very difficult time. And A Love was making fun records. He was making fun hip hop records.
I was making records from Party Down.
At Party, and it was, and I remember the record. I remember it vividly, but I had too much on my plate, and
That's okay.
I would definitely have whatever he would want to do in his career ever. I was always a champion. I championed the A-hat.
Yes.
Championed every movie he had.
Yes.
Because I believe in him.
Thank you.
Okay.
But
So I want to ask
let's get
you
back to music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Who
he's
was the
heard
first?
of
No, definitely not. Hold on. Who's the first artist you managed?
First artist I managed would be Hans Soul
Han Solo.
out of Philly. Wow. And I co-managed Hans with Sheila and a guy named Kevin Lyles.
Kevin Lyles.
That was his-
Was he original at that time? Was he original at that time then?
Kev was
before that.
Kev was my.
So that was after he, because that was after he wrote
Yeah.
Milli Vanilli.
He wrote the Milli Vanilli record. Actually, it wasn't that he wrote
What?
it. He didn't.
You didn't know that?
Yeah.
Kev
Go ahead.
Lyles wrote it.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Girl, you know, not girl, you know it's true. Something
Make
about
it rain.
some about the rain.
Yeah, the other big.
But the
that
thing
too, yeah,
was,
yeah.
it wasn't a Milli Vanilli record that he wrote. I want to be for the record on the show with you guys. They found a song from
Blame it on the rain.
"Blame It on the Rain"
Yeah.
was originally a New Marks record.
Ah.
Kevin wrote that record, and they
Wow.
took that
They
song.
took that song.
And in that, he did write the record.
Right, yeah, he-
but it wasn't like they called him and said,
Right, yeah,
"Hey,"
he went in.
because I've done that several times.
I didn't know. 'Cause I remember we were at some conference, and at that time he was a regional for Def Jam, and he brought it. And was like, "You did what?" Like, like. It
So
was just random.
let's connect the dots.
Yeah.
We
Before
are
he was regional, he was my street guy, Kev Lyles.
so before he was your street guy, Kevin was my partner.
Really?
He came to Los Angeles to learn about what it was we were doing here. He brought his ass out. Hans hasn't even come to LA at that point, and he and I were like talking about it. Troy Marshall introduced me to Han Solo because I bugged the shit out of him about him. on Kings Road was Loud Records.
Yeah.
Before Loud was on Kings Road up the street from here.
Melrose,
Sure.
yeah. Kings of Melrose.
It was on Gardner across from Paul Stewart's.
Sure.
So
Power move.
at that particular juncture is where Kevin shows up, and I am Paul's assistant.
What year is this?
I was an assistant
90 what?
for Paul Stewart. I forgot.
What year is this?
I don't know.
And it was 90 something.
Yeah. It was definitely before Loud jumped off completely.
Because Loud was
Because
in
I was
New
in
York.
90, I was a
No. Loud was here. It was here.
Yeah.
Loud hadn't jumped off in New York.
Okay.
Hans was one of the first artists signed to Loud.
Ooh, I didn't know.
You signed Loud? Okay.
I had a production deal with Steve for my deal. It was my cousin and myself, and Lamar decided he didn't want to be my partner.
Yeah, I remember.
And when we say partner, we meant business partner.
Let me specify.
Well, you said cousins, so
Yeah. I'm adding all these parts in here for those that like to groove, because this would be like, change his whole destiny. I'm like, no, I didn't.
You don't got the Rainbow Coalition over here.
Which is fine, but not in that particular
Nothing wrong
instance.
with that.
So yeah, Lamar decided he wanted to partner with Jay Swift and Quinn, and they were going to do their thing called Fat House, and I had Being Little Kids, and for anybody who knew, Being Little Kids was something I had started when I was a teenager, so it was always on. But Hans was like, "You're gonna manage me. I'm no longer on Epic." Troy White was like,
Great.
"Yo, you're my guy. Hans is gonna let you do it." And then Kevin came to Los Angeles because as a songwriter, he didn't understand how Hans could put his trust in some young cat that was quote unquote doing street teams. What is that?
Right.
So he came to LA to see what was good with that, and we had just gotten off of doing like Paul. All props to PMP. We had just got off of doing a big run on
Delicious, right?
No. We were doing Def Jeff stuff because Lamar worked there.
Def Jeff is great.
And we were doing Tommy Boy.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
Tommy
Not
Boy
By
was
Nature.
like, I want to say we were doing, we definitely did OPP, but for the memory serving me timeline correctly, I don't know if that was it then, but we rock shit on it. I introduced OPP to fucking everybody.
Uptown
No
Anthem.
way.
Everybody.
Uptown Anthem.
Yes.
Yep. I remember.
Like, no,
I
there's,
worked
yes.
at Work in the Bay, but I
Really?
was through Paul, I forget who it was, but I worked in the Bay, yeah.
Here,
That's cool.
I took Tretch and him around. Charmorn, all that was me.
Yeah.
So he was here, Kevin was here looking and seeing how we were operating. And I didn't have a cutoff switch. Like nowadays, kids are like, yo, it's 5:30. I'm about to get off in 5 minutes. I'm done.
Right. Entitlement bullshit. Tell Alicia.
Yeah.
Get fucking till 2 in the morning, baby.
I didn't know we weren't supposed to not work. And I was like calling people, being like, look, I'm a little late because you're across town. I have a bug. I'm going to get over there, but I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I put this display up, blah, 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 blah. Could you just, blah, blah, leave the back door open or something for me.
Right.
Like, I'm going to put the product in the front for you. I will be there.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are like, yo, the swap meet closes at 8, Adrian. You're not going to make it. And we in a swap meet.
Right.
I'm like, no, but I'm going to be there. And I'm not going to be able to come Thursday. Get me in there. So I'll just be working. And Kevin got a chance to see me go from Cerritos to Hollywood to Long Beach to everywhere.
Mid-city, Sloss and Swap.
Everywhere.
PFP, Compton.
If it was a record store, I wanted to not only know the owner, I wanted to be friends with the owners,
Know the
the
cashier.
operators, the managers, because I wanted my records to be
That's
seen
so smart.
more than just teaming in the streets and putting up stickers here and stickers there.
Right.
Because we did that anyway. That was like GP. When I was walking down the street, I was like,
Boom.
you got a sticker here. You got a sticker here. We proliferated.
That's it.
Yeah.
But,
crazy.
We called it bombing.
we bombed.
We bombed.
Everywhere. And it was really one of those things where I was just excited about life. And Kevin was in my bug with me riding around. He's just like, so you do this every day? And I was just like, yeah, man, isn't it dope?
Right.
And he was just like, and you live in Watts and you drive to Hollywood and you come back to Watts? And I'm like, yeah, like, gas ain't really even that big deal.
I gotta go home. Like,
And Kevin was looking at me like,
What
you
you're
are
confused
crazy.
about.
But he learned
Yeah.
what it was, and he was like, yo, you're ice cold. And I was just like, oh, I don't, thank you. I was just
You were just
Yeah,
doing what
yeah,
you
yeah,
did.
exactly.
With nothing
and it was hopeful that Hans would be positioned so that we could do that for the company.
Oh.
And because I didn't really work for Steve then, I was trying to do my own thing with him, and I didn't understand what a deal was, how a deal was supposed to be expressed. I just knew that I had to do the same thing for my artists that I did for all the other artists, and we did it. We rocked shit, and Kevin didn't tell me I didn't know his plan or his strategy. He just, one day, he's running Def Jam stuff. He's a regional at Def Jam. And I was like,
You just
that guy. But we were so intertwined and connected with so many different people in New York City. He didn't even tell me he was the guy. Someone else told me. I was like, Kevin Lyles,
so
my
badass.
business partner.
Yeah.
That's like a super gangster move.
Yeah, he ended up being running Def Jam, and he still works. I think he's
I
still
love
working
people
with
like that.
Lior, right?
Yeah, no, he's working with Lior and running
Me too.
300.
Yeah, 300.
And shouts out to Kevin Lyles if
Yeah,
you're listening. If you see this, I said earlier, don't nobody owe me no money.
That's right.
And I'm not saying you owe me money, Kevin. What I am saying is don't anyone owe me money.
That's right.
And I'm gonna keep it that way. It stays fresh like that for me.
Right.
I love Adrian. So you get your feet wet with Riff, and then you're making your own moves. You start a company. I remember this is early '90s. You come into the office, and you have a hat. You call the A hat, and the A hat
Wow.
didn't have the top on, so you could pull.
It did if you drew it close.
You could change the hat up.
What? That's
He
tight.
made-
Why is that not a thing?
You know how you girls
Could
have
be,
to
actually,
dress?
probably could
You know how
be.
you girls have to
Retro.
dress? You can make a
Retro
dress
combat.
and you can make it into this, you can make it into that.
Yeah,
Well, the hat, you could do multifunctional things with the hat.
I'd like to see
Yeah.
that.
And it was super dope.
Oh, pull it
But
up.
he got the patents on it. He's doing all the business on it.
Damn.
Stickers.
Yep.
And he comes
Girls
in
can
with
put their ponytails through it and not be an issue.
that's what it was.
That's
and
important.
and if you remember, this is also when TLC's getting ready to pop off.
TLC! Now you're speaking my language. Okay. Oh my god.
So he
No,
made
this is tight.
very tight.
I want
Made
one.
incredible colors. There were so many different things with the A hat, and I had the A hat. I rock an A hat. I mean, everybody's rocking A hat.
Okay. We talking about A-hat. No, bro. So how did you come up? How did that
Awesome.
come about?
How'd that come about?
Again,
See how
I don't.
JC always got to bring us back to normal.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss a beat with. That was in remember Herb magazine.
Wow. Yep.
That was
Yep,
an Herb magazine piece.
Fantastic.
Any interesting thing?
Shout out to Ray Roker.
Raymond Rogan. Yeah,
Ray Roker,
he's doing big
who's running
things.
Coachella.
Not anymore.
Oh, he has left. That's
You
right.
know, I
Live
keep up
Nation.
top with our people. He's
Live Nation.
over at Amazon.
Amazon. That's right.
What's he doing at Amazon?
Raymond, give me a deal.
He's
.com.
running. I think urban music, right?
Yeah, he's doing something. No. He's doing something creative on the.
Concert side, right?
Yeah, I don't.
So he's
Call us, Raymond. We need to know your job.
Yeah, Ray Roker,
That's
call us up. He's gonna come around with his paper, handing us his
Maybe a
paper.
good person to interview.
I'm gonna get him. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
him. He was great.
But yeah,
He was instrumental in Breaking
that-
Badge too.
that was little picture that they put in the magazine. So what happened was, again, it was about the culture. I was just on some. Let me do something. Because I wanted to get into fashion, but everybody had a T-shirt, everybody had a sticker, everybody had this, everybody. And I was just like, that's played out. Bucky goes,
Jordan Bucky.
yeah, he's like, if you want to get into fashion the right way, you should take your hat idea.
Kickwear, right? Kick it, something like that.
No, it wasn't. Well, he did introduce me to Dusty
Right.
or Rusty, whatever. I don't know. Kickwear guys, but it was Jonas that was like,
Jonas.
you
Jonas
should
Heller's
be my-
mom,
yeah,
yeah.
you need to be
Nancy
with
Heller.
my cousin Jonas, and I met with Jonas and Nancy, and to take it back, I was working for Steve at the time, Rifkin, and I just really wanted to do something different. And when I traveled into New York, I had an opportunity, and I started seeing people on the streets, and I was just like the kind of person back then I would take pictures. And I saw some guys, and I was in East Harlem, of all the places I could have been in that era. I was out hanging out in East Harlem, and I seen a guy, and he had like this T-shirt tied around his head, and it was just, basketball, whatever, and I was just like, bingo, got it. And it was
That quick.
Yeah, it took that little idea, and recently I did the same thing, and I saw an idea, and I was just like, oh, I could
It's like cooking, tasting.
Yeah,
You
so-
saw it, you can visualize.
Right.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend at the time, Annette Carlin, Annette was on some like design. She wanted to be in fashion, and she had sewing machines everywhere. And I was just like, babe, can you sew this up for me? This is the idea. And she did. And then, I went to one of my boys, and I was like, look, we need to make these, and it's going to cost $200 or whatever. You bring your $100 in, you're going to be a partner. She was already my partner.
Right.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
she didn't have to do anything except for just show up. But formerly, I was going to do this with my business guy. And I thought, I love this guy. This is my friend. We're going to work together, move it forward, blah, blah, blah. And I've always been keen on partnerships. Life Allah.
A God life Allah.
Life Allah. I'm busting everybody out. Sorry, Life. I'm going to do it. He, one day, didn't come around with his money. He told me.
I didn't pay him?
Nope. He told me he needed to take his money to do something else with. I'm not going to say what he did with his money.
Right.
But let's just say it's legal to do that now.
Gotcha.
And you can take your money. Like I could say it live, but I'm not going to put you all the way on Front Street. But I was just like, all right, cool. You don't want to be a part of it. Cool.
Right.
Next. And I just kept it pushing.
Right.
Kept moving.
And so later after we gained some success, me and him kind of like went back and forth about it. And I was just like, my nigga, like, I see it like this. And if we don't see it the same way, life goes on. But that's my version of the story and why I felt like I was going to just move this business along with Annette.
Did Madcap wear those hats?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's where
Fear of a Black Hat.
Mhm.
Like when you start to think about the placement of the hats, it's like, who didn't you touch? But you got to know when I did something, I did it completely right or wrong. I just did it. Like I made sure I blanketed everything. So it was a hat because it was Annette and Adrian, and I couldn't come up with a better name. And that was more fitting.
That's a good name.
Well, it worked out. It's like, what is this? Is it a scarf? Is it a
It's a
pullover? Is it a blah blah blah? It's a hat. And then, so our first ad in
That's so funny.
in Herb was, it's not a car, it's not a dish, it's not a plane, it's not a myth, it's not a da 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 da, it's not. What it is not is not, it's not a bunch of it's nots it's simply a hat.
Wow.
And a dash hat. And the point was, because we smoked copious amount of marijuana. In that era, we were smoking enough weed. And so it was a day in the life of a man in a hat. And in those three boxes, you could get a different colorway, like Alicia's pants. We might do that colorway, but you would only have three. And it was the day in a life of a man in a hat. And so the first one was the guy looking, the second one was the guy smoking, the second one was stars around the guy's head. And that was the logo.
Oh,
And
cool.
Devin did my logo, the same guy who did the Loud Records logo, which is important to note that he did my logo first, and then I had him do the Loud Records logo.
Put that on record.
It makes sense only because when we start to talk about Loud Records and why it was named Loud and how my brother argues me down about the name of Loud Records, but that's all. No, Fade.
Oh, Fade.
Fucking Fade argues me down about Loud Records, and I'd be like, nope, I'm gonna give you Unfadeable, but you cannot keep taking Loud away from me, Fade.
Yeah, unfair.
Meanwhile, but A-Hat was its own thing because, like I said, I brought in Bucky's cousin Heller, whose mom is Liz Heller.
Nancy Heller.
Nancy.
Liz is different.
Yeah, I'm tripping. Liz is the PR girl.
Yeah.
Nancy, and they were very kind, but we were putting the hats on boutiques like Fred Siegel, and you could get them. So one day I look up and Alchemist and Scotty are wearing the hats in a Vogue art, it's like in Vogue, and then people are like, A-Hat, you got to get it, and they had them hanging out their back pockets and on, and it was just like, huh? Then I get a call from Eric Brooks, who was just like, yo, I need to do these hats.
Sorry, 1 second. Are you talking about In Vogue, like the Vogue magazine, or In Vogue, like the group?
In Vogue magazine.
Okay.
Okay, because it's like the same era, right?
Well, tomorrow we got In Vogue, the writer for In Vogue.
No, stop, really?
Yeah, tomorrow.
That's ironic.
That's so cool.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go back 18-year-old.
Go back.
Yeah, so we did the hats, and I felt like it was something pretty cool. Right around that time, I wasn't really making any money, of course, so it was really hand to mouth as we were going. But the hats were everywhere, and I was doing jobs we were licensing them for Ice Cube, Tupac, and they were wearing them. Tretch, every rapper had the hat,
Wow.
and it was like it didn't dawn on me until like almost 10 years ago that I really had a nice stronghold on this.
Wow.
But the thing was, and this is my life story comes down to what it did for me and my family versus what it didn't do. And at the time, it hadn't done much for me. And so Steve fired me, which really kind of broke my heart because I was giving so much to the company.
Sure.
But he fired me because I stayed in his face about how to, sign the Wu-Tang Clan properly. Whatever.
Wait, so where you was at? Because I was there at Wu-Tang, because he fired everybody. He fired.
He would
what's the brother? What's our man's name? Brother over there,
Trevor.
Trevor. Trevor got fired like 5 times.
Donner. Everybody got. But I thought I was invincible to getting fired.
Right.
And that wasn't the case, because when he fired me, I had to pay rent, and I was really like, what?
That's a good life lesson.
Oh my God. I was at home crying for 2 days straight, and nobody could reach me because in that era it was like you paged people when you wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't call their cell phone.
They didn't have phones back then, honey.
No.
Well, they had phones.
I mean, we had phones, but
so much
we didn't know cell phones.
Like a curly fry on the. What do you call it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was at home like super upset and heartbroken, and I'm seeing these Carl Kanai hats running around, and I'm broke. My heart is broke about that shit. And so my boy goes, "Where you at?" And I'm Jonas. He's like, "Where the are you? I'm looking all over town for you." And Annette and I had broken up, and so I was really like, it was like, huh?
Everything's
Yeah. So I was just super sad, and he was just like, "Dude, they settled the lawsuit." I said, "What lawsuit?"
Right.
He's like, "We sued the fuck out of them." And I was like, "Sued?" And he's like, "Well, we started the proceedings because Nancy didn't play that shit. And she saw Carl Kanai's advertising for, not Carl Kanai, Cross Colors."
Cross Colors.
Yeah, I don't want to I do not want to put that on Carl because it wasn't him, it was Cross Colors. Mm-hmm. They were selling, whoever it was.
You know who it is.
What were they doing?
They were selling, no, not Damon Johns.
Isn't he Cross
That was
Colors?
FUBU.
Man,
I'm talking
all these
Cross
guys
Colors.
got their own brand.
So what happened was we put a cease and desist on, and they were selling the company apparently, and they had to settle it they had to settle our shit.
Yeah.
So they settled it and got it out, and guess what? They paid us handsomely.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
and I probably had scraped together maybe $1,500 to make sure I could pay my rent.
Sure.
So I was like out of the crying fields or whatever, and then he was like, "Yo, man, if you don't get up here right now, I'm just giving your check to charity." And I made a mad dash over to the spot,
Took that bug up there.
and it wasn't a bug much longer.
That's right.
And yeah, man, it was one of those things where I was like, wow moment, and I felt embraced in the community again.
Wow.
For you, buddy.
Yeah.
You deserve that. You find it. You found a niche again to the culture, tapping in, starting the clothing company. It blows up. In retrospect, it blew up with the tastemakers. So what everybody's trying to do now, getting the influencers. You had the influencers because you were working their records, and they were loyal to you like you were loyal to them.
Awesome.
And then you started finding groups, and you started working for labels again. You came in and worked with Happy for a while.
Mm.
And how was that experience? Because I worked for Hap. I worked for Hap. I got when I was working for Hap, he had just gotten kidnapped,
What?
Yeah, I was
Not the good old days.
and that was a very interesting time in hip hop.
Yeah, I was gone. Before we talk about Happy
Yeah,
and Amanda,
yeah.
I can't
We
lose.
got to talk about Amanda Shear.
It's mandatory for me because I wouldn't have known him without that.
Oh,
So you got to let me give you the through
yelling
line.
at people all day long.
Let me give you the through line. That was how she communicated.
I know.
She didn't know how to use her words.
Effectively.
So the through line for me in LA wasn't just fashion, and it was really the culture.
Right.
And anybody who knew me knew, growing up in LA, I wanted to see the balance of power out of the community that I grew up in, out of my hood, my neighborhood, for all intents and purposes.
Sure.
I wanted to see us winning, and I knew there was so many super talented people. Like some of my best friends growing up were incredible music makers.
Proper Grounds guys. Remember back in the day?
I met them through arguments and fights,
Right.
which was great.
Kyle Siri. That's Proper Grounds, right?
Such a fucking interesting story.
Like, you guys are just using
Yes.
catchphrases, and I don't know if it's a catchphrase or
It's
a
a group.
company or
It's a group.
It was a group.
I'm like,
Proper
what?
Grounds is a group.
I'm like, wait, were there actual
So I was gonna-
arguments? You guys met through an argument? I don't know.
I was gonna back you back to the good life.
Right.
Oh, the Good Luck was a club.
Yeah.
It was an open mic.
Open mic.
Yeah.
Ceremoniously
Open mic,
happened
is
each
that a
week.
production
No,
company?
but the good life.
Good
So
life.
you're gonna learn so much about hip hop.
Yeah.
Please teach me.
That it's easy. It's like there is a show you can see on Netflix called The Good Life.
Oh.
It's Ava DuVernay's first feature film. And it talks about her time spent in a lovely place that gave her the courage and the incentive to become who she currently is in the world
That's cool.
of Hollywood. And it gave us all that incentive. I helped create The Good Life. I was
Yep.
one of the founding people of the
It's just like
whole.
little like side. Wow.
Yeah,
that's
but I didn't
amazing.
know I was doing that at the time.
Isn't that funny?
This is
how
all
that
part of what we
happens?
did, though. This is all
You
part of
just
what we
did
did.
what you just followed your bliss, and looking back, you just
Carl, how you doing? You
Oh,
good?
wait, this was all very, very important.
Yeah, in
Building blocks.
Yeah, in light of being a part of that stuff, I learned what I could do. I learned what I was incapable of doing, and it was
At
never.
that moment.
Yeah, well, it really wasn't much, but like, for instance, introducing the Freestyle Fellowship
Oh,
to their A&R person
Sure.
who eventually signed them. I'm thinking I'm going to be the A&R person.
Yeah.
She let me know right away.
No.
You don't even know what A&R person is.
Uh-huh.
And I go, I actually do, but
Yeah.
I don't know what you are doing.
Right.
If I brought you the group and you brought them to the owner of the company,
Right.
and so Kim was like, look,
Kim
Adrian.
Bowie.
She's like, look, Adrian, I'm
Dropping
gonna
names.
give you a finder's fee.
yeah.
And I go,
Finder's fee.
what is that?
Right.
And she's like, that's when you have done what your duties are to me, and then I take it from here. And I was like, well, what about me managing the group?
Right.
I thought maybe I could manage the group. I was hot enough. I thought I was in the streets enough. She was like, that's a no.
Was that the right thing or no?
Listen,
She was
Do you
a
think
tough.
that
She
you
was a
could
tough
have
chick.
managed
She was a
that?
tough
could have
chick.
been,
She signed Spirit
great.
3 times.
yeah, it could have
You
been.
know what I mean? It's like 3 times.
It could have been great, but she didn't want to give me that. She gave
She
it
wasn't
to,
giving any
She
props.
gave it
Take
to
a
she,
chance
she gave it
to
to a
find
guy we
out.
all know named Kedar Massenberg.
Nah, she wasn't giving him any props. She was
Kedar man, so
she was in this little clique. Kim Bowie was in this clique. I mean,
But you have to know that I was also in her little clique.
Yeah.
In LA, she didn't have access to any of those people
No,
in the Good Life.
no.
Right.
So it just so happens that the guy she introduced the Freestyle Fellowship to, and this is part of the story nobody knows,
Yeah.
which is
exclusive.
is definitely exclusive. And I said this to him before, in the middle of COVID, I said this to Mike O'Neill. Microphone Mike, shout out, that's my bro.
Say that brother why.
I said to him, I said, look, you do realize you single-handedly invented the genre called neo-soul.
Wow. That's cool.
Because if Kedar was only the manager, not the producer,
Right.
and he came up with a fresh catchphrase
Yeah.
on describing your style of music, then you're the father of the style of music.
Yeah.
And he was like,
just science.
I never looked at it like that. And I'm like,
How's that?
dude, you are neo soul. And for me to be the guy who brought in the guy, I felt like some.
Yeah,
Yeah, you feel
Yeah, I felt like, yeah. So he was like, and furthermore, out of the Good Life, because it wasn't just a place where rappers, we all went there, and even though I was a rapper or whatever, I wasn't there rapping on the mic.
Yeah.
But shouts out to Tribe Unique, Abstract Rude, Volume 10,
Farside. They were part of that.
Let me tell you.
All right, tell him. Break it down.
Yeah.
Medusa,
Oh, yeah.
Sin,
Yeah.
Urban Prop, which was BJ, and Tarrant, Keeloo, DJ Keeloo.
Great.
App Band Clan was not part of this. Farside was not part of this. But when you look at Heavyweighter crew, everybody had their little friends and everybody would come to the table. Razkaz, most definitely Good Lifer, Heavyweighter.
Oh yeah.
I Smooth 7. I'm gonna miss a gang of people.
Exhibit.
Even no, not Exhibit yet. Even I'm not saying he didn't go there,
He's the best for our show.
but the thing was there were regulars that didn't they still have not gotten their shine. But like Ava, she grew into being she was one of the regulars, but she didn't, nobody would know her as a rapper.
When you say regular, what do you mean by that?
There every week.
Going to the club every week.
Every
Going
week.
to the club every week and
Yeah.
what?
And performing.
Performing.
Yeah,
She's
being
there.
on stage and working out.
Spoken word,
'cause
whatever the hell you
you
would
couldn't
do.
Yeah.
you couldn't curse
Okay.
on the mic, and there was no miggity figgity. At the time, everybody in the rap world was like, miggity figgity, miggity figgity. It was how you got away without saying something and using your words.
Right.
Okay.
There, you had to use your words.
Oh.
And I've seen Fat Joe. I was there the night Fat Joe got booed off the stage.
Who?
Fat Joe.
Fat Joe.
Oh no.
Because he wasn't, he got in there and started cursing.
Way back.
Mm-hmm.
That show.
Yeah. So,
Crazy.
but like, Fuzzy hit me up outside of Good Life, and he was just like, "Yo, you hooking everybody up with
Like
jobs?"
16.
He was older than that. He's like, "You hooking everybody up with jobs, but you ain't hooking me up. What's up?" And it just so happens Patrick Moxie had hit me up to do a job, and I was like, "I'm not moving to New York, but Fuzzy will." And I was like, "Boom, there you go." And Fuzzy's career started right there.
Oh wow! Look at you pioneering all these people's careers.
So speaking of the far side, thank you.
Yeah.
There was a fight in New York City at Wetlands, and Farside needed somebody on the road with them that could kind of control security. And one of my funniest people that I felt like could control security was a guy named Big Boy, and brought him on to kind of rep them. And Paul was managing them and the whole nine. I will never take credit for something I didn't do. I never managed the Farside.
Right.
But I did say, I think it'd be a great idea, and Lamar agreed, and we made sure Big Boy came on board with them, and that was Big Boy getting a gig, his first like legitimate
Before the
industry.
morning show.
Oh, before the morning.
Boy,
So we can talk about that. Because if you think about it, the Baker
Baker
Boys,
Boys had
they slept on my couch, Sway and Tech slept on my couch, because Lamar and I were a hub for our get down.
all the guys. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna talk you guys into a circle.
No,
it's a good
this
circle.
is
How we
really
doing, Carl?
interesting to me.
How we doing?
Carl's like, show's off.
Okay, good. No, yeah, the other camera.
He's just
I
gonna.
was like, what show?
So
Burning out.
tell me when you went. You started working with HAP. So where did that come about?
So interestingly enough, I mentioned Paul Stewart and being over at PMP.
Yeah.
I had gotten hired by Graham Armstrong to work at Hits. And I started with Daryl Lindsay and myself. We started the Hits rap chart. It wasn't Ricky Lee.
Right.
God rest his
peace.
presence. Yeah, great guy. But I got fired from Hits. Like
Why
bullshit.
did you get fired?
Because I was outspoken. I was militant to an extent. And if you said something to me that was out of line, I would correct you.
I'm that way too. I can't.
Yeah,
not.
it wasn't like I was a person that would be difficult at work. I like my job. It was the first job I got a benefit at. Because Paul wasn't giving me no damn benefits.
No, you get no benefits, no 401k.
The benefit at work.
Weed and booze.
Sometimes you gotta teach
Access.
people how to treat you, though.
Yeah.
Somebody got to teach Paul how to get the
access.
card out of the.
Yeah, it was his company, and he made it very clear that was his company.
I don't work for people. I'm
were-
shut my mouth now.
Yeah, no, we were riding, and
You need Alicia's fingernails.
working at Hits
Yeah.
was
That has to be hard.
well, no, it was not easy
Yeah.
because we were dealing with facsimiles,
Oh yeah.
as opposed to email.
Facts.
You actually faxed people information.
Paper
You had
coming
to
up.
wait.
Yeah,
I know.
And that timing was different
Shit,
than.
you had to fax everybody. You guys didn't have emails?
Nothing.
Oh my lord.
So you got the job done. Again, it was about getting the job done. And so the interesting thing was working for Graham, I got a chance to go back to my black radio roots and talk to the Ernie Singletons of the world, the Hank Caldwells of the world. Graham was like, did you get the list? Hank's on my phone. You call him, I'm leaving. And I'm like, I don't have KDRs. I don't have Magic 108. I don't have none of these reports yet. I gotta wait till, and so you had to wait. You sitting there waiting till they fax you their list for the week.
Isn't it like so complicated? I just remember my mom, because she worked from home, and she would they have to like make sure like everything's connected perfectly.
but we
and
had-
most of the time it didn't work.
There we had like 5 or 6 fax machines. It wasn't like work from one. And it was go time on certain days, not every day of the week.
It makes like a really loud noise.
Yeah, well, it got the point across. But I was the kind of person that was like, instead of you faxing me, can I just, for the record, put what you said? And this was a tricky place to be, because if I didn't do it correctly, it was like running the numbers off of here
On the street.
And if you didn't give someone's ad, then that person who got taken care of to get that ad would be in trouble. And so I had, dealing with the streets in a real way, I had to really report the correct perspective of what happened that week from radio to the chart position. And so when Fade told Steve, Adrian knows all the DJs and all the bosses. And Steve was like, you got the Rolodex? And I was like, it's my Rolodex. He's like, you're hired.
Really? Just like
That's what got me the job over there, was that he thought I could reach everybody. And I was like, oh, I can't reach everybody. And I could reach everybody. So like,
That's
cool.
cool.
I could run circles around some of the real radio guys because I had baby's mama's phone numbers, home numbers. I had girlfriends' numbers. I had side chicks' numbers. Like, where you gonna be at 3 o'clock on Tuesday next week? I don't know. Take all my numbers down.
Right.
And so I was in good to the point where people would like they trusted that.
You were just really good at human relations, just like knowing how to be with people, making them comfortable with you. Cultivating relationships was an easy thing for you.
And shouts out to Graham Armstrong, God rest his soul. You know, we've lost a lot of people who taught me a lot of things about how to do it correctly. And all I really, really wanted to do was be a lot like JC and Evan. I wanted to be accepted in my group. My peer group, my group of peers were no nonsense, go get them. We could easily get fired over here and go get hired over here. I didn't know how to do that necessarily. But I saw everybody else doing it, so I felt secured. It was not a matter of I am established enough in my own light. It was more about I know my friends ain't gonna let me down and drop the ball.
Wow.
I know my friends got my back.
You had a good group around you.
Oh, we had a great group. Like these guys are lifelong friends that, you know, we it was almost an unsaid herd that we shared our list with one another. Like if you got a new job and you need to reestablish, JC would send me his list.
What
the list of all the people you needed to touch base with to let them know where your new job is.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those
That's
types of things. And you know, so the happy thing happened, Buzztone, Immortal. Before they had created Immortal, Paul was managing House of Pain. Then Steve was across the street, you know, they went right across the street to get managed by Steve Rifkin. And then Paul's roommate, another one, God rest his soul, Skate Master Tate. Skate Master Tate
That's a dope name.
Yeah, Taters was dope. He was just a dope DJ.
Steve State.
Always longboarding around Venice. And he hosted a Nickelodeon television show.
Of course he did. His name was Skate Master State.
Skate Master.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't know what you just said right there.
Say it
I don't know what that was.
I knew the syllables sounded cool together.
You gotta understand.
See, that's kind of what he said. What was the good life? You couldn't go riggedy diggity. Like that's what you just did.
Just to get it and pass it through.
Fushnikins over there.
And the crazy thing was, and shouts out to Chip Food, we love him.
Right.
So Tate, I didn't understand his whole get down because he would have from New York to LA, he had all kinds of crazy people from, you know, Sugar Pop to Bronx Style Bob to
shout out to Bronx Style Bob.
You know, he always had in the house, it was a 2-bedroom place right on Melrose behind Johnny Rockets. They had everybody come through those doors. And it was amazing the people you would just meet working there. So I was there at 9 a.m. I don't care who was up. I was up. I was there like, do. Get me in this house. Paul come open the door. In the computer, the only computer was in his bedroom. So he'd be like, yo, you can't come work right now. So I'd be drinking coffee in the morning and making coffee.
Waiting for him to get up and then just going.
Paul had all these girls in his room all the time.
I'm not gonna put them on
everywhere.
CP.
Well, you know what?
That's Evan saying that. That's not Adrian.
Put him on blast because Paul flaked on us on the show today. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna put him on blast because
He's supposed to be here this morning.
You don't have to.
Yeah, with weaves and fingernails all over the place.
right.
You said what fingernails? What fingernails?
Eyelashes.
Wait, what fingernails?
What?
Weaves
Weaves and fingernails.
Hilarious.
Fingernails everywhere.
Hilarious. Well, him and Tate did have it cracking. And Tate's girlfriend moves to LA from New York. So guess who I'm having coffee with one morning is Amanda Shear.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, here we
Before
go.
she became
Now
Amanda.
she was a boss. So
Wait a minute. When you talk about bosses, her whole shit came before she did.
oh yeah.
Like her delivery. Like I'm moving in with Tate in LA. There were shit being delivered to the house, big ass boxes, trunks. And I'm like, where's all this shit gonna go? Like it all went right in the living room because the bedrooms were no bigger than this.
Right.
Oh my God.
And Tate was like, yeah, my girlfriend. And she came out here bossing everybody around. And I was just like, all right, shit, I guess I do work for you, kind of. He lives here and you live here with him. So I basically work for both of y'all.
Wow.
And it was interesting because you knew she knew something about it.
She wasn't the neck that turned the head. She was just a double head kind of a thing.
She is definitely, to this day, she's still a boss. Like, nobody denies Amanda her prop with that.
There's a couple of women.
She was doing the hottest part. She was doing the hottest party in New York with Jessica Rosenblum.
Yeah, and Flex.
Who, by the way, Jessica was the business in New York of all parties. Think about it, she manages. I think she still manages Flex to this day.
Still has Flex.
And so Jessica's managing Funkmaster Flex, and she's got this. She's got this intern who wants to throw parties with her when Amanda leaves. Amanda's running the parties, and Jessica's with Amanda. Amanda comes to LA. Jessica brings in this intern. Oh, we'll call him Puff Daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, just, okay.
Yeah. So this is how everything starts to intertwine and connect.
Listen.
So Amanda starts her party called Lava Cara, which I don't speak a lot of Spanish, but that means car wash. The biggest party in New York at the time at the Tunnel was Car Wash.
Okay.
It was Amanda and Jessica. So when she came to LA, she just changed the name and refreaked it. And the next thing you know, she's like, I'm starting a label. I'm going to sign these groups. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And she partners with Happy. I don't know how the fuck she met Happy. I didn't introduce him.
She was doing, so Happy was doing licensing of college licensing and merchandising.
Getting his paper up.
And they became friends. And she was a boss. I mean, Hap recognizes talent.
Yeah.
And he got her, and then she was running shit.
Right. So, when she said, you want a job, I will say yes, but she was like, well, how much money do I need to pay you? And I was like, a lot, but I don't know how much that is, because I'm trying to figure out.
You don't want to go against yourself, negotiate against yourself.
Yeah, no, I said I didn't know how much it was that she needed to pay me, and so at the time it was like, I'm gonna say something super embarrassing to myself, but I'm gonna be honest, it was probably $40,000.
$40,000, $50,000. That's what we started at.
Yeah, and so she was like, all right, you want to run my rap department? And I was just like, okay, cool. So I get in there, and I definitely don't feel like I'm running anything, because she's running everything. And it's, House of Pain is being managed by the company. Cypress Hill is being managed by the company.
Volume 10.
Prior to this is still before Volume. They got an artist called Back of the Shack that was signed to the company, and Jeff Burrows was running the company.
Oh, really?
Not me. Yeah, Dominica Dodson, Jeff Burrows. Yeah. Julie Miller was there, and this was that.
Julie Eric.
Yeah. So that crew was in house, and then I came in kind of like, what am I gonna do? I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't really know, and so they were like, well, we're gonna put out this record.
Figured it out, right?
It grew into like mugs. I'll give him the thank you mugs for trusting that I could actually do some shit, because he was like, yo, let Adrian just do it. And so, one of our first releases was Funk Dubious.
Oh yeah, of course.
Forget about it. From there, we went off to the races with that one, and Sony was our partner. Yeah. On that, and they were doing deals all over town.
Yeah.
So we had to deal at RCA, we had to deal with Epic, and dealing with, Polly Anthony on down. There, it was just interesting, and it was a management company and a production company and a merchandising company. Prior to that, because that's when he brought Chuck in.
Yeah.
That's when we got into the music supervision thing. And
Chuck Block, you're talking about.
Yeah, because Chuck made that. Chuck made
the movie. I was there. So I come in right after A&M blows out everybody. I come in right then, and I go, and he says, I want you to be the GM of this company. And I'm like, well, I don't know that much about it. And I go in there, and Dave Miller was there, and a couple of other guys were there.
And I wasn't.
Dominique, you were not there.
I was not working there, because that's when I parlayed to work for Benny.
You went to Benny Medina. You went to go work for Benny.
That's a story. We got to talk about that.
We're going to get into that. But that's when I came in. I came in to run that record, and that was with Chuck Block. So Benny Medina, another powerhouse in the business. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is about his life in some capacity. How was working for him, because he he was a tyrant of a guy at Warner's.
Forget about it.
You got Amanda Shear and Benny Medina. You got fucking.
No, I had
school.
Paul Stewart,
Yeah,
Stephen Rifkin,
yeah,
Amanda,
yeah.
Graham
Oh, yeah.
Armstrong,
There you go.
Lenny Beer, like that. I've had some of the most craziest, powerful, interesting people to work for, but Benny is priceless.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't get better than having said that you were, reared by one of the top.
That's like weird.
Reared.
I guess.
Pause.
Pause.
Take it easy, bro. Take it easy. Take it easy.
He raised your young
Take it
guy.
easy.
Came through.
He came true for you. But the deal
Take it
was
easy.
the deal was he was super powerful.
He was a machine.
He was definitely the GM of all things at Warner. And you have to understand Warner Brothers as a label had Maverick under them.
Oh,
Sire
Under them, Asylum under it,
Reprise.
Atlantic
Reprise.
under them.
Yeah.
It was all these different like 25 plus labels under his
tutelage. Ever.
cut the label. Huh?
Tutelage.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll get back. I want the label gone.
that's crazy.
And I'm like, what? The whole label? Who tells them this?
Yeah.
You do.
Oh no.
And like it was so matter of fact. Like
Right.
he used to freak me out. Like I went to New York to make a record, and he goes,
For yourself.
No.
One of the groups. He's
One of the artists that I was signing, and he was just like, Dave McPherson wants to sign him. And I said, yeah, Dave's trying to sign the group. And he's just like, how much do you offer him? I was like, I don't know, like $750,000 or some shit like that. He's like, offer him $1 million.
Wow.
just to fuck him over.
Yeah, I was just like,
That's how it was.
I was like, okay.
Benny has to be king and
Power
queen.
trip
That he has to be king and
hard.
queen.
All right.
And
I like it.
in that time, we had the biggest budget. Warner was the top of the food chain as far as like who could do it. If you showed up to argue with somebody about something, we would win the argument. So, and I was still very hip hop. I wasn't really tripping off of. He actually gave me the job because of the Korn project.
What?
Yeah.
Korn was an
I
alternative.
know the
alternative
Korn
rock
is.
group. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody listen to Korn out wide leg pants. It's just like science. I'm just saying it's true.
Right.
18.
So okay, here's something. Here's a fun fact that not many people know.
Jonathan.
Korn's first group name was LAPD, and Happy wouldn't sign them with that name because he was like, I don't want no problem out of LAPD.
That's
And so
back then.
Paul and them was like, look, you're not gonna get the deal if you keep the name. And so the guy who was writing for the group, the main guy, his name's Dennis, and he was like, I'm not gonna be in the group if they
Not
change the
Jonathan.
name.
Oh, wow.
Ah, man, this was a little fun fact.
Yeah, it's not fun.
And taking nothing away from Jonathan's writing, when it started, it was really someone else's brain trial.
Uh-huh.
And it was Orgy, Korn, they were all kind of a crew. And the guy who was really in the centerpiece of all that played himself being Mr. I Know-It-All.
Ooh.
And
Oh no.
Menace, his name's Dennis, and we just call him Dennis the fucking Menace. Dennis was the producer, made a lot of the songs, and he wrote them all. And he basically in here. He was Muggs essentially of that.
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, he said.
And you said something a second ago, because you said science.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when Korn exploded, when Orgy exploded,
Yeah.
and we had Incubus sign to us, Dennis started a label. He started not a label, but he started a group.
Oh.
No, he started his own group. He's like, this is my shit. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And the group was called Science.
No way.
I get that. I get
I'm
that.
in alignment, I'm
See?
telling you.
And a lot of people don't know about him, so props to that
So
kid.
She's the funniest kid ever.
She's
I'm in
picking it up.
alignment.
She's picking it all up. You know. So that was
So,
Maybe
so
subconsciously.
you were with him for a couple of years. And when I say a couple of years, we've been friends for the years, but always with these guys. We're always helping each other. But you break out from Immortal, and then where you go?
I went from Immortal to Warner Brothers proper
After that's
to
right.
do A&R, And, really, I wanted to work in corporate America for the sake of saying I did it. And I was like, I ain't college educated for no reason.
Right, you're also about to, you're very educated.
I'm like trying to be educated, and I find myself getting on these
if I'm going to look
serious.
educated, I'm going to be an
I work for so many people, and this is the truth. Everybody was either A, illiterate,
right, that's what I'm saying. I'm
or
educated.
B, dyslexic.
Yeah.
And not college educated, didn't finish high school. A lot of these people, but the underlying fabric was either
Streets.
they were, no, I'm saying the individuals were somehow connected through, what do you call it when somebody's family member is giving them the job?
Nepotism.
Nepotism. There was a lot of nepotism going on.
Yeah, big time.
And they were Jewish.
Them.
And that's okay, because I felt like in certain instances I was Jewish.
We'd be
To a
nepotized.
very strong sense.
We'd be nepotized.
Yeah, and which is great, but
Absolutely.
you learn a lot through that.
We've been nepotizing them.
But after Warner Brothers is when I was just like, you know what?
Go on your own.
I had my paper together at that point. I was just
You
like,
figured it out. You've done.
I was like, oh yeah, no. I called up one of my aces, and I was like, we're gonna start a business. And if you don't put your money up, you can't have half. He was like, well, how much do I need? I was like, 25 racks. Let's start there. And he came with his bread.
Nice.
And we counted that bread. And of course, he wanted to run the bank account. Jordan's ass.
Yeah.
You can't let Bucky run the. Do not let Jordan Bucky run the bank account.
But one of my best friends, so we're not talking about that. But
But Bucky played such an important role in my whole growth, because if you think about it, it was Guy Osiri,
right,
Jordan Bucky,
right,
and Adrian Miller. We were a crew.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a guy goes one day, he's like, I'm gonna go work for Freddie. And we were
Freddie
like,
Demand.
yep. And Jordan said, I'm gonna go work for
Madonna's manager.
Jordan said, I'm gonna go work for Sandy Gallon.
That's right, Gallon Morey.
And Sandy Gallon had Michael Jackson.
That's right.
Wow.
And I was like,
What do you mean by had?
managing.
Wow, that's had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Major. These are baby before you were born. These are the major players.
And these are the people that if you're gonna learn it, pick it up from them.
Right.
Or step away.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had Clarence showing me what I needed to know.
Who got me in the
Clarence Avon?
Clarence
Yeah.
Avon.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it was not all like swinging in the dark, but a lot of it was relationship based, and you proved your point. Like, people knew who you were. If you got hired at one of these companies or whatever, I felt like people already knew it.
We had a pedigree.
And
Oh, yeah.
we, as one another individuals, if JC was in a job already, he would recommend Barry Wade. He would recommend Raji. He would recommend. I don't know if you ever gave me a recommendation, but I ain't gonna say
But you know what? The thing is with me, is like I was talking earlier, is that I was at a place like 8 months in this.
Right, like you pop out.
Yeah, I was just
Fast turnover rate over
yeah,
here.
because like Malik Levy, he recommended me for the Capitol when he left Capitol.
Right.
So that was it. But everybody recommended within the crew.
It was definitely like, if we did a short list, that would be a great place to start with a dinner and a connect.
100%.
Like, we need to do that,
Yeah,
because like I
100%.
talk to everybody. Like,
Sure.
I haven't seen Leaky, but he saw me at
Well, he's supposed to be there. His office is right next door. That's his office now.
he's not. Of course, he's not here because
Right.
I'm supposed to see him, and I don't see Leaky.
He's coaching his kid. Props up to my man Malik. He's coaching his son in baseball right now.
But I talked to Tim Reed last week.
Yeah, Tim. Yeah, Tim's
And-
he's gonna do
and,
the show.
On the show.
He knows he's a little scared of doing it.
We're gonna ask
I
him.
like that. I said, we're not gonna make no hard questions. No so hard questions.
Yeah, but scare him. You should be like, yeah, you should be.
Yeah, listen, we're
Fuck
going.
We're gonna get Fade and talk about David Johnson and stuff like that.
That's
I'm
exactly
talking-
what you need.
I'm
And,
saying-
oh yeah, speaking of David, you said David Miller.
Dave Miller used to work for me.
Yeah, Dave Miller called me 3 days ago. I got to call him back.
Great kid.
Yeah, you're right. We got to
Think about it.
Actually, you know what?
The alma
That'd
mater.
be dope if we can do.
We'll do
a
that
dinner.
tonight. Do the podcast.
No, do it.
It should be a small dinner that grows. Don't
Yeah.
overthink
The
it.
outside.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, this could become the next urban network.
He's right.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
somebody said that to me before and said, "Why don't you?" Kevin Ross was like, "Why don't you put it together then?" I was like, "Cause that's more work. I ain't
Yeah,
got
because you were going to go do some work with Dead Delicious Vinyl now, aren't you? A couple years ago.
go do delicious."
We still working with them again, right?
Because it's like you watch. I'm an athlete,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like that casual. They're sitting there eating, talking,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Well, we can start it out here. We got enough room for the start
Yeah,
for
I
the
was
30
gonna
of us,
say you
20
guys
of
should
us.
do the outs. We'll get some lava mics put
Yeah.
on. The wind resistant. Bada bing,
But
bada
you're
boom.
running Delicious Vinyl right now, right?
Yeah. Bought into it with Michael.
Oh, you did? Congratulations, buddy. That's dope. That's
Yeah,
dope.
it was one of my dreams come true. It was one of those things where I was just like, you know what? I want to do that. But
You hired James Lopez back.
It's so funny because
Can't afford him now.
his offices are right next to us.
Yeah, it was. I think did they move here? Or they still have him there because he was
Right
talking
on
about
Sunset?
Yeah.
Well, last I saw him, he was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't hire James Lopez.
You guys have had the most interesting freaking lives.
We're not dead yet.
The story.
Yeah. Like all that.
We're not dead yet.
I know.
You can give us our flowers.
When we skip from like Pop and Pete to like I'm a corner.
You said Pop and Pete.
I
you
know.
said Pop
I
and
said
Pete.
Pop.
Yeah,
I love Pop and Pete, but he wasn't around.
I told you guys I took one keyword and I just threw it out
Just
there
roll
like
out,
I'm
yeah.
fully in
But again, I like Pop and Pete. He's good people.
So I gotta ask you because I know we don't get that much time with you because I'm getting fingers from Carl in the corner.
Corner.
Carl, you getting the finger?
God, if you were a radio teacher.
Carl's like
That sounds like a great little. Welcome to Carl in the Corner.
Carl.
I'm your host. I'm Carl.
I got Carl in the corner going like this, like
Let me get out this
wrap
goddamn
shit up,
sweater.
Wrap this shit up. Wrap this shit up. But we didn't talk about one of the things that I think is groundbreaking, because basically you discovered somebody out of complete obscurity and became one of the biggest artists of the year, and Anderson .Paak.
Oh, I thought you were saying Pooh Bear.
Oh,
Pooh Bear?
wait, you know Pooh Bear?
Do I know Pooh Bear?
He discovered Pooh Bear, but I was talking about Anderson .Paak.
Oh, okay. Yeah, AP. Yeah.
We can talk about
Really?
Pooh. We can talk about Pooh
Yeah,
Bear.
it's all Pooh, but yeah.
Talk about Pooh Bear. We talk about Pooh Bear. We talk about Anderson .Paak. We talk about several others that you helped develop and put on. But
He stole them from Barry Benson.
Ooh.
Pooh Bear.
Anderson .Paak.
Oh,
Anderson .Paak.
of course.
So a little bit about Anderson because I'm a fan, and I know when Straight Outta Compton came out, I was on the peripheral involved on the Jerry side because he was always questioning things and working with Jerry Heller. It was very important to me. But Anderson, pretty much, that was his soundtrack.
Yeah, it was definitely.
How many songs? Anderson .Paak, five songs on the album?
I would say it was a good launching pad for us. Getting in the room with Dre was exciting. Introducing him to Dr. Dre was exciting. Meeting Dre and becoming business partners with Dr. Dre and Jimmy. All of that happened, and it was just like a whirlwind. Like,
Wow.
and looking back on it, I felt like, for me, I'm giving him what he really said he wanted to do.
Yeah, gave him his wings almost.
Yeah, it was like, hey, on my dream board, I'm gonna meet Dr. Dre, and I want to introduce myself not as Breezy Lovejoy, but as Anderson
That's what
.Paak.
Breezy loves me. Yeah.
And I go, that was why the name change happened.
Oh.
Because he come to me, he was like, I'm changing my name. And to me, I'm just like, I don't fucking care, go ahead, do it.
Speaking of changing names, I had this chick change her name on me too.
What happens?
Cassandra Beatty to Andra Day.
Listen, I love it. You can get into it.
I'm ready. Nah, fuck that. Man. I ain't
Tell
talking
the story.
about
I know we talked about. I don't know how
it. I
much
ain't
we want to
talking
get
about it. I'm not
into
giving
it.
it any props.
So how'd you get at that time? He was Breezy Lovejoy when you first got with him, right?
Yeah.
And then, you want to talk about how the Dre?
I'll give you this very, very, very condensed version of it. Is we connected at the time. I had a partner, God rest his soul, Dominic Trenier. And Dom, basically, I told Dom, you're my blueprint for how I'm going to be successful as an independent manager and label. And, for me, we needed a relationship and a rekindling with Mark. We needed a D'Angelo. We needed a Nika Costa. We needed to really framework ourselves as such. And Dom, was still kind of going through his whole thing with D, so he didn't want to jump into and a lot of people say, well, you push Dominic out, and I'm like, oh, why would I push out the guy I brought in?
Right.
I didn't push anybody out, and we added more people. So for the record, Kevin Morrow, Katrina Taz, who manages Janae, Anderson wanted those guys in, and so we brought them into the fold. And I found ways to work with the people he wanted to work with.
Right.
Am I the greatest manager in the business? I wouldn't even say that to my, somebody that was calling me the greatest manager.
Right.
I would say that I've worked with some of the greats, and I've had an opportunity to learn even more about how to be improved on what I do. But if you say, hey, are you the best dream weaver? Can you manifest destiny, Adrian?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Obviously.
Check.
Right.
Obviously. So write me off on that list of things to do.
That's
And then
way more important.
well, I don't know how much more important
Why?
as an artist maybe.
Yeah.
As an artist maybe because you
do
gotta
great things.
you have to be able to write it down and bring it to fruition. Because a lot of people
do it. I do it like it's my job, and it works. It's crazy.
A lot of people don't know to even think about it. And he had a big
You gotta do it on
whiteboard
purpose.
of why I want to do certain things. And for me,
The why behind the what.
I felt like I could help him successfully go up that path. And so I don't know very many people that have been unsuccessful with Dr. Dre. You know?
It's weird that you're saying that. In the car, I didn't know this was happening, by the way. On the way here, I was just thinking about that. Like, Dre, I'm like, does he ever give out beats to women? Like, are there girls?
Yes, Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Blige?
Yes, Eve. Yes.
Missy?
No. It's a no.
That's Timberland.
Timberland?
That's Timberland.
Yeah.
So
I'm just thinking,
Dre
I don't
stays in
hear
his own
them
camp.
a
He just
lot.
finished an album on Homegirl from Floetry, Marsha
Oh,
Ambrose.
really? Oh, really?
Afro.
Whole album.
Whole album. Oh, okay.
So that's coming,
Wow.
and I don't know if I'm supposed
What's
to tell
up,
nobody,
Marsha? Marcia Ambrosia?
but yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's in Vegas.
I don't know if I'm
What's
supposed to.
next? What's next for you, buddy? What's the
So
next move?
I think that
Buying the Delicious Vinyl is a major move. So what's the next move?
yeah, you know, we've created Delicious Vinyl Island, myself, Leslie, Cooney, and Michael Ross, and that's an outlet for Caribbean artists needing label services.
Great.
And we're creating the Delicious Vinyl Island Network, which is in fact the opportunity for us to do MTV Base and Trace here in the United States. You know, I wanted my own platform for artists to give me visuals and to create shows and outlet, and that's what we're doing. So I partnered with Atlas Digital to
cool.
create that.
That's awesome.
And we're at MCN, so it's a really super above board and official. We have about 2 hours of videos. So if I start playing one of the music videos that exist in the company now, I can play 2 hours worth of music videos.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And to me, that's content that's actually needed. The artists have different relationships. Some are signed as artists, some are just production company deals that we've joint ventured with. Speaking of Pooh Bear, I just did a joint venture for his label, Birthday Music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's with Def Jam.
Okay.
So I'm excited that relationship and watching the artist that Pooh Bear is presenting, game over. It's like, ooh, this is unfair. And this isn't even something I would say, oh, I'm an expert at making pop music, blah, 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 blah. Nope, he is.
Yeah.
It's unquestionable.
Pooh
And
Bear?
it,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's a great writer,
Oh,
right?
producer, writer,
He's fantastic.
publisher now. Hello,
Yeah.
he published Peaches.
Really?
Is that through Peer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, for me, it is about the experience of being able to maintain business and stay and remain that serial entrepreneur.
Sure.
But speaking truth to power, you know, I don't have a problem speaking truth to power at any tier. You know, I'll have a conversation with Max Lusato over at Warner. I'll speak to Jeffrey at Def Jam. I'll speak to Sylvia.
Sure.
And I want them to know that I'm going to keep us very much on point. I'm going to keep us safe. It's not anything other than the driving force of my love for the culture
Right.
that enables me to be in this position. So when you're thinking about the culture,
Yeah.
if you can think about why, the why is I'm a black man in America and I got something to say, and instead of me wolf ticketing and doing a bunch of interviews, because you ain't gonna,
Right.
you know, I did
No,
this for y'all.
I know you did this for us, and I really appreciate
And
it.
yeah, and guess what? I love speaking, but I'd rather put my actions into.
Yeah.
Worse than
So we
that.
got one of the segments, and the show's obviously called "We Got Issues." That's your main issue, right?
I do my part
do
through
your
art.
part.
I do my part through art, and so if I can continue to bring omnipresence in the marketplace, and so you know, if you look at the business I have with Anderson is OBE. That's kind of got its own marker. It's
Right.
a company I created with and for him that he owns and maintains. I know he has another label that he's doing now. God bless it. I started a business with Omos Keith because he and I are just so much alike and so much on the same page. We created a tiny universe. which I got that name from Benny. So that company is all about Omas and him being the secretary of the Recording Industry Association.
Sure.
And Mr. Mega producer, mix engineer. We have a full functioning 2-room facility over in Echo Park. It's very hipsterville.
Big time.
And it's a cool vibe, and we got a slew of artists that we're going to introduce through that. He's doing the score. I'm doing the music supervision for the film Karen.
Oh, I just heard about that, by the way.
It's coming,
I
and
saw it on TMZ. They broke
yeah,
that.
TMZ definitely had their king.
What's her name? Taryn Manning, right?
Taryn starring it. So I'm doing music supervision, but I'm also the film's one of the co-executive producers.
Oh, that's good. Good.
Yeah, so I'm getting my feet wet on different things.
Yeah, nice.
We're keeping busy. The parent company is Zion.
Yeah, no,
And
Zion, yeah.
Yeah, Zion means a lot. And if you ever are a fan of The Matrix, I was a fan of the books.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
You read?
reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, you definitely. So when we talk about issue, I think we got to do it right. What issue would you like to, that's could be yourself, the world, the music industry. What issue?
What do you want people to take away
Yeah.
from this?
Like what issue?
I mean, I think that the issue in humanity is that we miss something called the through line.
The what
And
line?
the through line,
Okay.
our through line is our bloodline. Our bloodline is as captivating as it is. You can't meet someone in life that you won't know in death. The connectivity.
Oh,
Say that
we
again?
are connected. Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Say that
so
again. Say it
You
again.
can't meet someone in life that you don't connect through death. And so I think, I ask people all the time, do you recall being brought into this world? Well, chances are you won't recall being taken out.
Right.
But in between is what we do call our journey. And so for me, I don't have all the answers, but I know that God has given me a certain purposeful method to answer certain things.
Sure.
And I follow that unequivocally. I follow it
Yeah.
blindly.
The fact that you even are aware of it is important.
It helps. It helps me understand that when I'm in Paris and in the 9th district, that I don't speak a lick of French, but I communicate.
Right.
If I'm in the favela in Rio, then I can move around and understand what they think, and it's not
It's
hood.
an unspoken
Boom.
connection.
It's right.
And,
You
and,
don't
and,
have
We want to
say
speak the
anything.
language, but we can communicate.
and my part, what I contribute, my contribution isn't that I can come and make stone or this or that, but even as a Freemason, I have to tell people
You can't
the
make
science,
fun of it.
the sciences are all good. So when I'm developing and when I'm
Fantastic
reaching,
Freemason.
it's good to know.
Sorry, go ahead.
When we as brothers, he's so stupid. When we're out here, we should really be in a place where I talk about our family, and in the business of music and entertainment, I'm only as good as my family allows me to stretch out to be. And so I really, my prayer, not my issue, my prayer is that we connect the dots and that we quickly get it together, because I see these young guys out here killing one another over who dissed whom and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm okay, you don't have to get along with me, but have you guys ever heard of anybody wanting to fight me?
Bite you?
Fight me. Have you heard of anybody wanting to kill me?
Nope.
I haven't heard that about you or you, and so what, Happy got kidnapped. That's questionable if that happened or not.
right. Yeah.
But I will say this, as much as we've seen, as much money has been earned, we created the platform that is hip hop.
Correct.
The foundation of hip hop business is in this room right here on so many, and you're gonna see so much more of it coming, I'm sure, because they know too many of the right people.
Yeah.
Like my point, I'm gonna be less well-winded here and just simply say, the passing of the baton kind of happened incorrectly.
Okay.
The major labels, when they blew out departments, they blew out cultural connectivity. They blew out the ability to maintain a balance. And so it's on us. We're responsible for it. All I did with Anderson was became a mentor for his strength, which was his art.
Responsible for it, how?
bringing him into the light, letting him know that this is the page you should be on, starting a label that enabled him to hold his publishing.
That's cool. That's cool.
Introducing him to Dre.
That's a
It's
a big one.
Getting him
It's a
in
big
the
one.
getting him on the soundtrack. These are all the things that
starting it,
gotta get them. They're talented.
Yeah.
We know they're talented, but it's like,
He knew he was talented, shit.
of course.
But could he go from here to there before he quit? Because he told me several times, I don't know if I'm gonna continue to do this. And even in doing it, I don't know how long I will do it. But I was hopeful to be Big Bro and the family member, because I think of us as family still to this day, no matter what kind of intercedings happen. The thing is, I haven't seen this guy in a long time. And I think the last time I seen him was in the gym.
Yeah.
But it's always a big, bright smile. He's always JC. I'm always
He's
going to be
all right.
A-Love. Evan, I see him everywhere all the time. Him and Johnny, all the time everywhere.
Yeah, I see that so clear. All three of you guys are just lights.
But what you're
People
gonna,
around you,
you're going to get that out of all their guests that they've known for all these years.
because you bring that out of people too. You
And
just-
so I think
We only surround ourselves with people.
I think their driving force is that they actually doing what they've done all their time, which is like actually doing something. You got,
That's
I got
so
you,
true.
Carl in the corner.
Yeah.
Here's the facility. Hello, goodbye. Like,
Yeah.
you were gonna get this. I don't even know whose office we're in before it was this, but now it's this.
No,
Actually, you do know whose office this is. This is Bucky's.
Oh Lord. I do know. Like, he's so right. Like, I immediately seen the whole building change.
Because we were downstairs. We were downstairs on the 5th floor.
You guys took over this whole.
And then Bucky went
from
to the
him.
next. Bucky went to the next. He goes, I need to move to the next side. He goes, as a matter of fact, I want to do some construction. Yeah, he was hiding the fucking money in the walls. Fucking,
Wait, are you joking?
no, I'm not joking.
Like Breaking
all-
Bad type of shit?
Like Breaking Bad, all the walls downstairs were taken apart, so
Oh my
you
God.
could see all the wood framing.
So you remember me saying earlier he had to bring 25 grand to the table.
Okay, it was his walls.
And he acted like it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Not so much for him.
Not a big deal.
Like,
One of those
me
things-
earning all my little money, my little coin from the business of music is a big fucking deal.
That was it.
Well,
That's
there's
fine.
that. We get part 2 of this podcast because y'all got stories.
No, we got stories.
No, that's just it. You only get this.
That's it.
Oh.
If you don't know me
there's
by now,
that.
that's it. That's it. Done,
Wrap it up.
done.
Typo on it.
Caleb, I got to tell you, buddy, I love you, man. You've always been one of my dearest friends. We're all family here. It was great. It was great.
That was fun.
All right, so we're back. We're back with the We Got Issues Hoodlum podcast. And listen, you guys like, subscribe, and
Hit the like button.
and follow us. Don't make it fun. Like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that button on the right there that says you liked it, like the podcast. Make us happy. You know what I'm saying? Catch you right back.
There we go.